Hello folks, today we're going to be talking about Force War. Forcerival has opened today, and for those of you watching this in the future, you'll probably be looking for some advice on how to do the various game modes in Force War. We've had a few days now to figure out how it works, and so I'm going to put together some strategies that you guys can go ahead and think about when approaching this game mode. So when you reach level 130, you will unlock, as you can see here, the Force War. And the Force War basically contains different areas that you need to know about. First of all, there's the Watchtower, where you can scout 3 times. Different rewards or events will appear here. Sometimes it's attacking opponents, sometimes it's getting resources, sometimes it's not that much, but it's still a little something to help you in your journey. By doing that, you can go ahead and get quests, which will get you gems. These will appear on the left-hand side. And another thing is the Earth Vein. This will generate different resources, which you can go ahead and gift to the Council Chamber to improve your team's rank. The different people you find in here will be various players across the servers, and hopefully you'll be joined with some guilds that will be pretty strong. You can also join as a guild, so when the Force War is setting up, make sure you join with your guild mates, unless they're not very strong, in which case join on your own, but it depends on what you think. At least for me anyway, I will join with my guild mates because they're a very strong and fun guild to work alongside. Now, that's not all there is to do. We have the Lair Expedition. This will progressively unlock 5 opponents that you can go ahead and fight, and you get different rewards depending on how high of a level you can fight them. These level bonuses range from level 1 to 30, 50, 70, 100 to 150, and then they scale up through increments of 50 each time. And then when it gets to 500, it's then 600, 700, 800, 900, and 1000. The way you improve the level of these bosses is by adding debuffs or buffs to the opponent. Now, these have varying different abilities which will affect your team and how the opponent attacks you. So you'll need to think about which ones you implement to get to a good level point. At the moment, it's level 150. My camera is currently in the way, but by combining these, you can get yourself a decent level. So think for a moment. Do you have Shadow or Fortress heroes? Can you afford to remove them from your lineup? That's what these ones do. So there's one for the different factions all there. Even Transcendence heroes can be removed. So if you don't have any, you could potentially put that in for some bonus points. This one here will actually remove slots from your team. So slot 1 and slot 6 will disappear. I don't like that one, but it is potentially something you can do for extra points. This one here basically kills your entire team if you don't beat the opponent by round 6, but if you're dealing a lot of damage, you potentially will. So if you go in and fight and realize that you're winning before round 6, then definitely activate that. And there's different ones here that add different bonuses, and as you can see, they all stack up here. So I don't mind the fact that my opponent removes debuffs, I don't mind the fact that they're immune to damage over time, and honestly, them reducing the energy of the ally with the highest attack by 100 at the beginning of each round, that's okay. I don't mind that. I can energy feed them, or specifically make my highest attack hero someone who can play around that. Of course, my highest attack hero is my Vesa, so it just depends on how much damage she can do. But if I've got other heroes in there like Jara, who can do a lot of damage, and then Freya, who's going to be racking up active skills, this doesn't matter so much. And then also, enemies will have specific abilities at the bottom unique to them, depending on whether it's the priest boss, or the assassin boss, the ranger, or the warrior. So basically what you want to do is muck around with these sliders, increase the power level of the opponent, add some speed to them. Assuming they're quicker, you want to just max the speed for them because they'll be faster anyway, and just move these things around until you get to a danger level that you can go ahead and beat, and then try and get that danger level for all the other opponents. As you can see here, I've gone for 150 against everybody. Depending on how powerful your team is though, you will do more or less, but that really depends on where you're at. Now, that will all allow you to get these little tickets. These tickets can then upgrade the Earth Vein, which then will increase the rate of resource gain, which then means you can give more to the Council Chamber, and that will just improve your ranking overall compared to everybody else. And once that finally ends after a week and you've done all those things, one person in the Council Chamber will be assigned your commander, and this is for us Jesus, but there will be various people depending on who did the most, and then the people who didn't do quite as much but still did a lot will be assigned as vice commander. So these people are going to be the leaders of the group, and they will join us in the Forcerival, and they will go ahead and help us in what is an incredible tactical fight across this large continent, as you can see. So you can see there are different factions across the map, and different people will be in different factions. You'll know which one you're in, as it says in the top corner, and you can see how all the different factions are doing on this menu on the right hand side. Basically, there's a few different things to consider on this map. First of all, you want to attack opponents' strongholds. For information about these enemies, you can find it in the Enhancement Overview, and that will tell you what the different statues do. There's a Divine statue, which will be the big boss, just like in Sealand. There'll be the 2 guys at the front, which are the melee statues, and there'll be the 2 guys at the back, which are the ranged minions. So So this is like an advanced Transcendence Seal Land, if you were going to think about that. And there's a description of all the different abilities that the opponents have. Now, rather than going into crazy detail and you forgetting everything that I say, let's talk about something very important to do with this that will hopefully be of use. If you take a look at the different skills of these opponents, I want to draw your attention to the Divine statue, as he is offering a ton of buffs for the team. And these buffs can be quite problematic. As you see here, he will continuously improve damage reduction, armor, and block at the end of each round, and that's a little annoying. There's also other buffs for the whole team here, and it can get a little out of hand and make it harder for you to deal damage to the opponent. And the goal is to do as much damage as possible. So one hero you might want to consider when going into these fights is to actually include someone like Forcus or Transcendence Urania, heroes that can remove buffs from opponents. On my team, I specifically am using Mystic Fairy Freya. She does remove attribute buffs, but I also don't have access to Forcus or Transcendence Urania. I would potentially add Forcus though if I could. I'm also worried about survivability, so I'm using Olivia and Amun-Ra, as these are two heroes that will offer me protection. They'll shrink the opponents. We've got Healing Curse from Amun-Ra. We've got the bubbles as well. So there's a lot of cool things that I can use to disrupt my opponent and keep myself alive. On top of that, I get shields from Freya and from Vesa. I've got CC from Jara, and I'll also get damage bonuses from Queen, as well as reducing the crit that my opponent does through Abyssal Corruption. So let's go ahead and show you what this team looks like in action. And as I said here, the goal is to do as much damage as possible. So here we go. Take a look at this. Let's see what we can do. Unfortunately, my Freya got silenced. That's a little irritating, but we did shrink the boss on the back line. That is very, very nice. Okay, as you can see, my Jara's taken a few hits here, but hopefully she'll do some good CC with her Receptor. Absolutely, all the minions have been crowd controlled. That's really, really nice. Now, Twine has come out there on my Olivia. That's a little annoying. Hopefully she can break free and start shrinking the boss, because I don't want to take too much damage. And wow, we got shrunk. That's not very nice. Oh dear. Okay. Let's keep this up then. My Amun-Ra bubbles are keeping us alive, which is very, very, very helpful. They're pretty important. Ooh, Jara getting the CC off there. Although these guys are pretty quick now. It's a little scary. We are getting this. There's the CC. They break free. I don't think the CC is actually doing as much as I'd like it to, but hey, you know what? We can hope. Either way, we are getting plenty of damage out here. My team is staying alive, which is really important. As well, you'll see I've got Antlers Cane on Vesa down here. That allows her to deal more and more damage every round, so that's going to be very, very helpful to try and do as much damage as you can. And as I said, the priority with this game mode is to do as much damage as you possibly can, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second once this fight is over. So, as you can see, I did not the best there, actually. That's one of my worst attacks recently. But depending on how much damage you do, you'll do different amounts of durability damage to the building. So because I fell into the 6,000 million to 60,000 million category, I did 8 durability damage. Now, I've reached 11 before, so I'm a bit annoyed that I only did 8, but my team probably has been debuffed by something the opponents have put in, or maybe just didn't work as well as it could have done. And yeah, you basically have to use these wheats that you get, these war supplies, to help you do as many of these fights as you can. And by throwing them all out, you can reduce the durability of an opponent's building. Now, when a building is reduced, it will eventually go on fire, and that's when it drops below 50%. That's a bad thing. So what we will need to do is I'm actually going to have to send my lineup in here to defend us, because this is pretty terrifying. And for this, I'm also going to go ahead and use some bonuses. So we can increase allies' attack by 50% in the battle. That's one bonus we can add. Also, we can improve the damage dealt to the stronghold by 100% in this battle. Now, I'm going to add... I'm going to go with the Onslaught Runestone to try and do as much damage as possible. Hopefully that's going to work out quite nicely. And yeah, let's go and send in this team and see how much damage we do. Now let's skip the battle. And as you can see, I did not even that much at all. That is a real shame. What the heck is going on? Either way, that is hopefully going to help in that fight. And that's what you have to do. Basically, try and hit your opponents on different fronts. Now, strategies about the particular map layout is twofold. There's one argument that you want to go ahead and be bordered with as many people as possible so you can have more influence over the map. But at the same time, if you share a lot of borders with people, you're opening yourself up to a lot of attacks. This is not very good. So that could be a problem. However, if you can try and share borders with as few people as possible, that could also work in your benefit. So if you try and attack into people, so if we attacked into red here, for example, that would be great. We won't share a border with anyone for attacking red, right? You see these roads, there's no link from this building, but it will bring us closer into red's territory, which then will be harder for red to reconsolidate, and we'll be able to shore up this building, as the only person who will be able to attack it will be red in return. So that's potentially something we want to do to improve our influence. So that's one strategy to get good defensible locations, but if you want to be more aggressive and get more reach, maybe your commander is of the mindset that they want to spread out and try hit into people like purple over here. For example, yellow would need to go through these mountains and take these 2 strongholds up here. But again, taking strongholds is really difficult because you have big groups of players all fighting each other. In theory, this is a really, really cool game mode, and trying to maximize your damage against these statues is going to be something that people are going to slowly figure out over time. Different strategies will emerge. We'll talk about them in future videos, but for now, heroes, as I said, that I'm thinking about are going to be heroes that can benefit from doing a lot of damage with Antler's Cane, and of course, heroes that can remove the buffs from opponents, and as well, heroes that keep you alive, such as Olivia or Amun-Ra. So that's where I'm going to be putting my attention when it comes to fighting those buildings. As well, once people do figure out strategies, it will become a game of who can do the most damage and who can take strongholds more effectively. Do bear in mind you can buy war supplies with gems, so it may also be that the team that spends the most gems will go ahead and influence the map. Another point as well is the more powerful people in a particular setup, the better that team will do. So really strong guilds like Omega Project will be at an advantage because they'll be able to work together because you can all sign up as a guild. So it will be very whale beneficial. However, you may just happen in your council chamber to join people like Jesus or Artorias who are massive whales, and that will benefit your team as well because you'll be able to work with those people and they'll be able to help your team when it comes to dealing with opponents in the forcerival. So yeah, you might find that this is a whale heavy game mode. You might find that it actually favors the average, so it may just put whales with really weak people. Who knows? I'm not quite sure how DH Games planned their team building, but there's a lot of carnage going on. There's a few buildings on fire, and yeah, this will make for a pretty fun fight. So yeah, overall, I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out in the long run and how this game mode works. All you need to know is your goal is to deal as much damage to these strongholds as possible. Don't worry too much about what's happening in the technology, as this will be covered by your commander and vice commander, and just basically follow their lead. And if you can reach out to them on Discord in the communities, it will be cool, but generally just try and follow the trend of your team. You may find over here, as you can see, we're not really attacking orange. The durability on here isn't very high, and some people are attacking the blue one here. It's down to 70, but most of our faction are going in against this red opponent. So as you can see here, I could go ahead and throw in my team and try and do a ton of damage to this. So let me just go ahead and grab... Oh, mages! Mages are banned? They can ban heroes we use? Well, that's just... Wow, that's a stinker. Wow. Okay, that's a little cool thing they can do. So I don't know why they'd ban mages. That would seem odd. The better hero to ban would probably be warrior, because, I mean, dude, if you ban warrior, then no mockmen and aspens can be used, and that's probably going to be pretty strong if you're trying to stop whales. So a little thing there for commanders to consider. Anyway, folks, thank you for tuning in. If that explains some stuff for Force War, great. If you've got any more questions, let me know in the comments section down below, and best of luck as you go ahead and fight those strongholds. And yeah, I think this has the potential to be a really, really cool game mode once people begin to figure it out, and as guilds start working together and start to figure out teams and lineups that beat these enemies, it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. So yeah, stay tuned, folks, for more stuff. Obviously, having really good heroes will help in this, so just keep on cracking on, building your team. And if you want more guides for Idle Heroes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, folks, have a good week, and happy idling.